It's now time to solidify your seats for sound services.
I'd now like to present to you our first speaker, future priest deacon Yisrayl David.
Shalom, everyone. Please be seated. I'd just like to talk a little bit about just how serious the time is that we live in right now. And how we're in this last time period. This last time cut short. And it's really, really serious that we take serious the teachings of our overseer. Now, if you'll turn over from my first scripture to Hebrews. Hebrews chapter 10. These are familiar scriptures. But it's really, really important that we take these to mind and really, really practice them. I'm going to be reading verse 22 through 27 on page 949. It says, "Let us draw near with a true heart in full assurance of the faith, having our hearts sprinkled from an evil conscience and our bodies washed with pure water. Let us hold fast the confession of the faith without wavering, not bending, not giving way, being steadfast. For he who promised is faithful. And then let us consider one another, how we may urge one another on toward love and righteous works." That's, encouraging one another to do the things the pastor's telling us to do, to follow these teachings. Not forsaking the gathering of ourselves together as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another. You remember what Pastor brought out last week? About how we need to be coming to the new moons, we need to be coming to all these appointments that Yahweh has given us? Now, why is that? It's not just because it's a great time to come and just sit around and talk about whatever's on our minds. But, this is the time when Yahweh brings forth His message to us. This is the time when Yahweh teaches us. Praise Yahweh. So, if we're missing these things, we're missing out on valuable information. We're missing out on valuable knowledge that is necessary to get us ready for this time period that we're in. Verse 26. "For if we sin willfully after we have received the knowledge of the truth, there no longer remains a sacrifice for sins." Remember what Pastor brought out last week about the second death. About how if we leave now, if we fall away now, or if we, give up these teachings that we've been taught now, we're headed for the second death. That's really, really serious, brother. "But a certain fearful expectation of judgment and fiery indignation which will devour the adversaries." I was in a class recently, and the Kahan said, Yahweh's not looking down at each and every one of us with, like inspections to see if we're going to break His laws to zap us down. But, the books are going to be opened on those last days, at the last great white throne judgment. And that's what's going to judge us. If we've been willfully sinning and getting rid of these teachings from our minds, that's what's going to show. And that's what's going to prove us unworthy. So it's really, really important that we stick with these teachings. If you turn over to Psalm chapter 1. Psalm chapter 1. And this is speaking of the same thing here. 1 in verse 4 and 5 and 6. "The unrighteous are not so." That's who we are. We're the unrighteous if we don't follow these teachings, if we let these things slip. "They are the chaff which the wind drives away. Therefore the unrighteous shall not continue after their sentencing." They're going to be taken out. "Nor will sinners remain in the congregation of the righteous." But notice, Yahweh knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the unrighteous will perish. So we need to strive to be those righteous ones. This is how serious it is. We're in this last time that was cut short, which is the greatest time of trouble ever. And if you remember in the sermon that Khan Benjamin brought out just recently, he was talking about how the British Parliament, they saw the urgency to, bring forth this peace plan and bring this peace between Israel and Palestine. We should see that same urgency in getting our lives together and getting our lives straightened out and in unity with Yahweh. Praise Yahweh. Now we need to take the things that we've learned and be responsible with them. Okay? That being responsible means being accountable. That's in the responsibility unit of the peaceful solution. If you remember in the scripture, Yahweh demands an accounting of all our actions from us. That's in that great white throne judgment. Now this is the last time, and this is the time we need to take the most seriousness in our lives and get all of this sin out. Now if you remember, the responsibility unit is the last unit in the 5 units of the peaceful solution. So you have to learn about what character is, acceptance, self-control, and get all these things so that you can fully be responsible. And that's what we're striving to do in this last time, brethren. Be responsible with Yahweh. Be responsible with the teachings that we've learned and put them to our best use in our lives, brethren. So praise Yahweh. I hope all of y'all understood what I was saying and really take this last time and be really serious with Yahweh. So if you'll all please stand. I'd like to turn it over to future priest Ephraim for prayer.
Holy Father's name is Yahweh. This is Ephraim Hawkins asking permission to pray to you and approach your throne. Under the head of Deacon Hawkins, to the authority of the priest, Pastor Yisrayl Abel Hawkins, in Shem's name we pray. May you please help bless the lips of the speakers who will be speaking today. May you please heal the sick and the ill among us. May you please work on Didier to be released from prison. May you please help all those who are held back in faraway countries that they may be able to come here. May you please bless the food and the drink. May you please help all those who want to come to your house to serve and they will come here. And I ask all these things in unity of the body of priest, Pastor Yisrayl Hawkins, in Yeshua's name we pray. Hallelujah, praise Yahweh.